The giant space station Kepler-7 floated in the darkness between stars. Inside its metal halls, aliens from across the galaxy gathered for an emergency meeting. Commander Han Kyung walked slowly through the corridors, his human face calm and quiet. Other aliens barely looked at him. To them, he was just another weak human. The meeting room was huge and filled with different alien species. The Vorthak warriors stood tall with their gray skin and sharp teeth. The Kelrani had blue crystal bodies that glowed softly. The Draknor looked like giant lizards covered in expensive jewelry. All of them were more powerful than humans, or so they thought. Han Kyung took his seat in the back corner where humans always sat. For 47 years, humans had been the weakest members of the Galactic Consortium. They did the hard jobs that others did not want. They mined rocks in space and built things for stronger species. Everyone knew humans were not smart enough or strong enough to matter. The Vorthak leader, Grand Admiral Thekmor, stood up. His voice was deep and scary. The Vorthak Empire needs 3 human worlds for our new military bases. Humans will move to other planets. This is not a request. The room stayed quiet. No one spoke for humans except humans, and humans were too weak to say no to the Vorthak. Han Kyung felt anger in his chest, but his face showed nothing. He had practiced hiding his feelings for many years. "What if humans refuse?" asked a small voice from the back. It was Han Kyung. The Vorthak admiral laughed, a sound like breaking metal. "Then we will make them move. Human ships are toys. Human weapons are jokes. It will take us one day to defeat all human forces." Other aliens nodded. Some looked at Han Kyung with pity. They thought humans were like children playing with wooden swords while adults held real weapons. Han Kyung stood up slowly. "My government needs time to discuss this." 7 days? 3 days, the admiral said. "Then we come to take what we need." The meeting ended. Aliens left in groups talking about trade and war and politics. No one talked to Han Kyung. He walked alone back to his small human transport ship. But he was not really alone. As soon as his ship's door closed, Han Kyung pressed a hidden button. The walls around him changed. What looked like a simple transport ship was actually full of advanced technology. Screens appeared showing secret messages from Earth. "Commander," said a voice from the speakers. It was Dr. Park Mina, the smartest human scientist. "We heard everything. Are you ready to begin?" Han Kyung smiled for the first time in days. "Protocol revelation is approved." "How long do we need?" 48 hours to move all pieces into place. "Captain Lee Wonho's ships are already moving. Admiral Kim Nara is waiting for your signal." On the screen, Han Kyung could see star maps that would shock any alien. Red dots showed human ships hiding in empty space. There were thousands of them, invisible to alien sensors. For 47 years, humans had been building and planning and waiting. "What about the other species?" Han Kyung asked. "The Kelrani suspect nothing. The Draknor think we are buying more mining equipment. The Vorthak believe their own lies about human weakness." Han Kyung looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Captain Lee Wonho was moving his invisible ships around Vorthak forces. The aliens had no idea they were being watched and measured and prepared for. "Doctor, begin the activation sequence. It is time the galaxy learned what humans can really do." Far away on Earth, Dr. Park Mina sat in a secret facility built deep under a mountain. Around her, thousands of humans worked at computers and control panels. They had been waiting for this day their whole lives. "All stations, this is Control," she said into her microphone. "Begin protocol revelation." Repeat, "Begin protocol revelation." Across human space, things that looked like simple mining stations started to change. Metal panels slid away to show giant weapons. Asteroid rocks broke apart to reveal massive warships. Empty space filled with the shadows of invisible fleets. On the planet New Sol, Admiral Kim Nara stood on the bridge of her flagship. The ship was hidden inside a fake mountain, but soon it would fly free. She was a small woman, but her eyes were hard as steel. "Admiral," said her communications officer, "Captain Lee Wonho reports all reconnaissance ships in position. Captain Oh Jahoon confirms the Dreadnought fleet is ready. Ambassador Choi Hyejin sends word from the diplomatic corps." Kim Nara nodded. For decades, she had commanded forces that the galaxy did not know existed. Human children grew up learning that their parents were weak, but it was all an act. The greatest military force in the galaxy had been hiding in plain sight. "How many Vorthak ships are coming?" she asked. 12,000, Admiral. "They think it will be enough to crush all human resistance in one battle." Kim Nara almost laughed. 12,000 ships seemed like a lot to the Vorthak. But humans had been counting differently. While aliens built ships to show their strength, humans built ships to win wars. Send word to all fleet commanders, she said. In 72 hours, the galaxy will see what humans have been building, while they thought we were weak. Back on Kepler 7, Han Kyung sent his official reply to the Vorthak demand. It was humble and scared, exactly what aliens expected from humans. He asked for mercy and time and help from other species. None of them offered to help. They all thought humans deserved whatever happened to them. But in secret channels, different messages flew between human ships. Old code words that meant get ready and almost time and show them everything. Captain Lee Wanho floated in space near the Vorthak fleet, his ship invisible to their sensors. He watched their formations and counted their weapons. The aliens were confident and careless. They had no idea that human eyes were watching their every move. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would learn that humans were never weak. They had just been patient. And now their patience was ending. The stage was set. The actors were in place. In 3 days, when the Vorthak fleet arrived at human space expecting an easy victory, they would find something very different waiting for them. The greatest reveal in galactic history was about to begin. The Vorthak war fleet moved through space like hungry predators. 12,000 ships of different sizes filled the darkness between stars. Their hulls were painted with symbols of past victories. Grand Admiral Thekmore stood on his command ship, looking at the star maps with satisfaction. "How long until we reach human space?" he asked his officers. 2 days, Admiral. Our scouts report no human military activity. They are hiding like scared animals. Thekmore's sharp teeth showed in a cruel smile. Good, this will be over quickly. But the Admiral was wrong. Hidden in the empty space around his fleet, Captain Lee Wanho watched everything from his invisible ship. The vessel was painted with special materials that bent light around it. To Vorthak sensors, there was nothing there but empty darkness. Lee Wanho was a quiet man who had spent 20 years learning to be invisible. His job was to watch alien fleets and count their strengths. Today, he was doing the most important counting of his life. "Communication Officer Kim," he said softly. "Send this message to Earth Command. Vorthak fleet consists of 12,000 ships. Breakdown as follows: 2,000 heavy cruisers, 4,000 medium destroyers, 5,000 light fighters, 1,000 support vessels." The message traveled instantly through secret human networks. Within minutes, it reached Dr. Park Mina's control center deep under the mountain on Earth. Dr. Park Mina read the numbers and smiled. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes, but her mind was sharper than any computer. For 30 years, she had been preparing for this day. 12,000, she said to her assistant. The Vorthak brought their entire eastern fleet. They really think humans are helpless. Around her, the secret facility buzzed with activity. Humans worked at control panels that managed hidden bases across the galaxy. What aliens thought were simple mining stations were actually military command centers. What looked like research labs were actually weapons factories. "Doctor," said her assistant, "Admiral Kim Nara requests permission to begin Phase 2. "Granted. Tell the Admiral that all our hidden assets are ready to activate on her command." Far away in space, Admiral Kim Nara received the message on her flagship. The ship was still hidden inside the fake mountain on New Sol, but its engines were warming up. Soon, very soon, it would break free and show itself to the galaxy. Kim Nara was 45 years old and had been in the military since she was 18. But the galaxy had never seen her in uniform. As far as aliens knew, humans did not have real military officers. They thought human security forces were just people with simple weapons who protected mining equipment. "Fleet status report," she ordered. "All 47,000 ships report ready, Admiral. The dreadnought squadrons are in position. The stealth carriers have deployed their fighters. The fortress platforms have charged their main weapons. 47,000 ships. The number would have shocked any alien leader. The entire Vorthak Empire only had 30,000 ships total. The Kelrani Collective had 25,000. The Draknor Trade Federation had 18,000, but humans had been building in secret for decades. While aliens fought wars and made treaties and showed off their power, humans had been quietly working. Every mining station hid a shipyard. Every research facility built weapons. Every cargo ship could transform into a warship when needed. "What about our people in the consortium?" Kim Nara asked. "Commander Han Kyung continues to play his role perfectly. The aliens still think he is just a weak human diplomat. Ambassador Choi Hee-jin has all the other species convinced that humans are helpless victims. Back on Kepler-7, Han Kyung sat in another emergency meeting. This time, the aliens were discussing how to divide human territory after the Vorthak conquered it. They talked about humans like they were not in the room. "The mining world should go to us," said a Draknor representative. "We understand resource extraction better than the Vorthak." "The research stations can serve the Kelrani collective," added a crystal-bodied alien. "Though human science is primitive, we might find some basic materials useful." Han Kyung listened to them plan the destruction of his people and said nothing. His face showed fear and sadness, exactly what they expected. Inside, he was counting hours until the reveal. These aliens had no idea what human science could really do. Dr. Park Mina's laboratories had solved problems that Kelrani scientists thought were impossible. Human engineers had built ships using theories that Vorthak military experts said could not work. For 47 years, humans had pretended to be students while secretly becoming the teachers. "What about the human population?" asked another alien. "Surely the Vorthak will not kill them all." "Humans make good workers," Thekmor's representative said. "We will keep the useful ones as slaves. The rest can find new homes on frontier worlds." Han Kyung stood up slowly. "My government asks for one more day to prepare our surrender. We need time to tell our people what will happen." The aliens looked at him with what might have been pity. They thought he was a broken man begging for mercy. "One more day," the Vorthak representative agreed. "Then we take what is ours." As the meeting ended, Han Kyung walked slowly back to his ship. But once inside, he moved quickly to his hidden communications panel. "All stations, this is Prometheus," he said, using his secret code name. "The fish have taken the bait. Begin final preparations." Across the galaxy, the message was received by thousands of hidden human facilities. On distant asteroids, fake mining equipment folded away to reveal massive space docks. Inside hollow moons, weapon systems came online for the first time. In seemingly empty space, cloaked ships began moving into attack positions. Captain Lee Wonho received new orders as he watched the Vorthak fleet. "Shadow Leader, you are cleared for Phase 2 reconnaissance. Map their battle formations and identify command vessels." Lee Wonho's ship moved closer to the alien fleet, still invisible to their sensors. He could see the Vorthak ships clearly now. They flew in old-fashioned formations that looked impressive, but were actually easy to attack. The aliens were so confident that they had not even put up defensive screens. "They are not even trying to hide," he reported to Earth Command. "No sensor sweeps, no defensive patrols, no electronic warfare measures. They think they are flying to a celebration, not a battle." Dr. Park Mina received his report and shook her head. After 47 years of careful planning, the enemy was making it almost too easy. "All fleet commanders," she announced on the secret network. "The Vorthak are approaching exactly as predicted. Admiral Kim Nara, you may begin the final countdown." Admiral Kim Nara looked out at the stars and smiled. Tomorrow, the galaxy would see what humans had really been doing while everyone thought they were weak and stupid and helpless. Tomorrow, everything would change. The Vorthak fleet reached the edge of human space as the morning came to Earth. Grand Admiral Thekmor stood on his command bridge, watching the scanner displays. Everything looked exactly as he expected. A few small human ships ran away from his forces. Some weak defense platforms tried to block his path. "This is almost sad," he told his officers. "I have seen more resistance from space pirates." The human defense platforms fired their weapons at the approaching Vorthak ships. The shots were weak and poorly aimed. Most missed completely. The few that hit barely scratched the alien hulls. "Return fire," Thekmor ordered. "Destroy those pathetic platforms." Vorthak warships turned their massive guns toward the human platforms. Bright energy beams cut through space. One by one, the platforms exploded in balls of fire and metal. The destruction was quick and total. "See how easily human defenses fall," the Admiral said with satisfaction. "Send word to the consortium. Tell them the conquest of human space has begun." But Thekmor did not know the truth. Each platform he destroyed was sending detailed information about his fleet back to hidden human command centers. The platforms were not really trying to defend anything. They were measuring the alien weapons and recording the battle formations. Captain Lee Wonho watched the destruction from his invisible ship. His scanners recorded everything: weapon power levels, shield frequencies, engine outputs, communication channels. The Vorthak were giving away all their secrets without knowing it. Earth Command, he whispered into his radio. The fissure in the net. All enemy capabilities confirmed. They are exactly as weak as we thought. Deep under the mountain on Earth, Dr. Park Mina received the message. Around her, thousands of humans worked at control stations. For 47 years they had been preparing for this moment. All stations, she announced, initiate protocol revelation, authorization code, Prometheus Unbound. Across human space everything began to change. On the planet New Sol, the fake mountain that held Admiral Kim Nara's flagship started to crack open. Rock and dirt fell away to show gleaming metal underneath. The ship that emerged was larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Its hull was painted with symbols that no alien had ever learned to fear, but they would. The UES Sejong the Great rose into space like a metal mountain coming to life. It was 2 kilometers long and armed with weapons that could crack planets. Admiral Kim Nara stood on its bridge, finally able to show her true rank. Communications, she ordered. Signal all fleet commanders. Begin to cloak sequence. Throughout human space, the empty darkness started to fill with light. Ships appeared where there had been nothing moments before. Not dozens or hundreds, but thousands upon thousands. They had been hiding using technology that the aliens thought was impossible. Captain Oh Ji-hoon commanded one of the new dreadnoughts, the UES Yi Sun-sin. His ship was smaller than the Admiral's flagship, but still bigger than most alien vessels. Like all human military officers, he had trained in secret for years. Sir, his weapons officer reported, all systems online. Reality anchor drive ready for deployment. Oh Ji-hoon nodded. The reality anchor was Dr. Park Mina's greatest invention. It could stop enemy ships from moving by locking them in place in space-time itself. No alien technology could break free from it. On Kepler 7 station, Han Kyung sat in the consortium emergency meeting room. Alien leaders had gathered to hear reports of the Vorthak invasion. They expected to hear about quick human surrender and easy victory. Instead, their communication systems started screaming with impossible data. This cannot be correct, said a Kelrani representative, staring at his scanner readings. The displays show 47,000 human ships. That is more than our entire fleet. The sensors must be broken, insisted a Draknor official. Humans do not have the technology to build so many ships, but the sensors were not broken. On every display screen in the room, new contacts appeared as human ships decloaked across the galaxy. The numbers kept climbing. 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 47,000. Han Kyung stood up slowly. For the first time in 47 years, he did not look weak or scared. His voice was calm and clear. Members of the Galactic Consortium, he said. I am Commander Han Kyung of the Terran Defense Forces. I hold the rank of Strategic Operations Director, trained at Earth Military Academy, class of 2361. The aliens stared at him in shock. They had never heard him speak with such authority. They did not know that humans had military academies or real military ranks. For 47 years, Han Kyung continued, humanity has been observing and learning from this galaxy. We have studied your strengths and weaknesses. We have prepared for this day. On the main display screen, the image changed to show Admiral Kim Nara on her flagship bridge. She wore a crisp blue uniform with symbols of rank that no alien recognized. Behind her, the ship's bridge showed technology that looked decades ahead of anything the consortium had. I am Admiral Kim Nara, Supreme Commander of all Terran forces, she said. The Vorthak fleet currently threatening our space will withdraw immediately, or face the consequences. Grand Admiral Tekmor received the transmission on his command ship. At first he laughed. Then he looked at his scanners and stopped laughing. His 12,000 ships were suddenly surrounded by 47,000 human vessels. This is impossible, he whispered. Where did they come from? Captain Lee Wanho's ship finally decloaked right next to the Vorthak flagship. His voice came over the communication system, calm and professional. Grand Admiral, this is Captain Lee Wanho of the Terran Reconnaissance Corps. We have been watching your fleet for 3 days. We know the location of every ship, the name of every commander, and the weakness of every weapon system you carry. Dr. Park Mina appeared on screens across the galaxy, speaking to the scientific community that had dismissed her work for decades. To my colleagues in the Galactic Research Consortium, she said, human science was never inferior to yours. We simply chose to learn in private rather than boast in public. Our technology is now approximately 50 years ahead of anything you have developed. Ambassador Choi Hyojin, who the aliens had thought was just a simple human diplomat, revealed her true credentials. She held advanced degrees in xenopsychology, interstellar law, and military strategy. Her job had been to study alien weaknesses while pretending to be harmless. The Kepler Accords of 2340 clearly state that any species threatening genocide against consortium members will face immediate military response, she announced. Humanity invokes Article 7 of those accords. Across the galaxy, alien leaders sat in stunned silence. Everything they thought they knew about humans was wrong. The weak, primitive species they had ignored for decades was actually the most powerful military force in known space. Grand Admiral Thekmore stared at his scanners, watching human ships take perfect attack positions around his fleet. His 12,000 ships looked small and helpless compared to the massive force surrounding them. For the first time in his military career, the great Vorthak warrior felt afraid. The galaxy held its breath and waited to see what humans would do with their revealed power. The silence in space was complete. 47,000 human ships surrounded the Vorthak fleet like wolves around sheep. Grand Admiral Thekmore had faced many enemies in his long military career, but he had never felt so helpless. "Sir," his communications officer said with a shaking voice, "the humans are requesting a response to their withdrawal demand." Thekmore looked at his scanners again, hoping the numbers would change. They did not. His 12,000 ships were outgunned by nearly 4-1, but pride ran deep in Vorthak blood. "Send this message," he growled. "The Vorthak Empire does not retreat from inferior species. We will fight to the last ship." Admiral Kim Nara received the message on her flagship. She had expected this response. Vorthak warriors would rather die than admit they were wrong about human weakness. "Very well," she said calmly. "Captain O'Jihoon, please demonstrate our capabilities. Use minimal force." Captain O'Jihoon commanded the UES Yi Sun Sin, one of humanity's newest dreadnoughts. His ship was beautiful and terrible, covered in weapons that no alien had ever seen before. "Understood, Admiral. Beginning demonstration run." The Yi Sun Sin moved toward the Vorthak fleet alone, one ship against 12,000. To the aliens, it looked like suicide. To the humans, it was a gentle warning. O'Jihoon was 32 years old and had been training for this moment his entire adult life. Like all human military officers, he had studied alien psychology and tactics in secret schools. He knew exactly how to make the biggest impression with the smallest effort. "Weapons Officer Lee," he said, "activate the reality anchor system. Target the Vorthak 3rd Battle Squadron." "Reality anchor online, sir. Targeting 12 heavy cruisers." The Yi Sun Sin's most secret weapon came to life. Dr. Park Mina had spent 20 years developing technology that could manipulate space-time itself. The reality anchor could lock enemy ships in place by freezing their position in the universe. 12 Vorthak cruisers suddenly stopped moving. Their engines were running at full power, but the ships could not move forward, backward, or turn. They were trapped in invisible chains made of twisted space-time. "Impossible," whispered Thekmore. "No weapon can stop ships from moving without destroying them." O'Jihoon's voice came over the communication system, calm and educational. "Grand Admiral, your ships are now locked in a reality field. They cannot move until we release them. This demonstrates our ability to disable your entire fleet without killing anyone." The Vorthak tried everything to free their trapped ships. They fired their engines at maximum power. They tried emergency jumps to faster than light speed. They even fired their weapons at empty space, hoping to break whatever was holding them. Nothing worked. "Phase 2, O'Jihoon announced, demonstrating defensive capabilities. The remaining Vorthak ships opened fire on the Yi Sun Sin with everything they had. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles flew toward the lone human dreadnought. The attacks were powerful enough to destroy any ship the aliens had ever seen. But the Yi Sun Sin did not try to dodge or block the attacks. Instead, something incredible happened. The ship became transparent, like a ghost made of light. The alien weapons passed through it without causing any damage. "Phase shift technology activated," O'Jihoon reported to his crew. "All attacks passing through harmlessly." Dr. Park Mina's second greatest invention was the ability to shift a ship slightly out of normal space-time. The ship was still visible and could still fire its own weapons, but enemy attacks could not touch it. Grand Admiral Thekmore watched his most powerful weapons pass through the human ship like it was made of air. His hands began to shake. "Sir," his tactical officer said. "Our weapons are completely ineffective. The human ship is using technology we do not understand." But Ojihun was not finished with his demonstration. "Phase 3, he announced. Precision targeting display. The Yai Sun Sin fired exactly one shot from its main weapon. The beam was thin and precise, no bigger than a pencil. It traveled across space and touched one small antenna on Thekmor's flagship. The antenna vaporized instantly, but nothing else was harmed. "Grand Admiral," Ojihun's voice said politely, "we have just destroyed your long-range communications array. If we wanted to destroy your entire ship or your entire fleet, we could do so in approximately 4 minutes." The message was clear. Humans could destroy the Vorthak fleet whenever they wanted. They were choosing not to kill anyone, but that choice could change at any moment. On Kepler 7 station, alien leaders watched the demonstration in complete shock. The Kelrani representatives were trying to analyze human technology with their advanced sensors, but the readings made no sense. "How is this possible?" asked a Kelrani scientist. "Their phase shift technology violates 3 fundamental laws of physics." Han Kyung smiled. "Dr. Park Mina will be happy to explain it to you. Humans have been studying physics while you were busy feeling superior to us." Ambassador Choi Hijin stood up and addressed the stunned aliens. "The Terran government offers the following terms to all species present. First, immediate withdrawal of all Vorthak forces from human space. Second, recognition of humanity as an equal member of the Galactic Consortium. Third, reparations for 47 years of economic exploitation." The Draknor representative found his voice first. What do you want from the Trade Federation?" "Fair prices for human goods," Choi Hijin said simply. "We know you have been buying our resources for 1/10 of their real value. That ends today." The Kelrani scientist was still staring at sensor readings. "Your technology? How far ahead of us are you?" Dr. Park Mina's image appeared on the main screen. She looked like a kind grandmother, but her words made the aliens tremble. "In weapons technology, approximately 30 years. In defensive systems, 50 years. In faster-than-light travel, we estimate 70 years ahead of your best efforts." The room fell silent. 70 years was longer than most alien careers. It meant that human technology was so advanced that the other species could not catch up in their lifetimes. Back in space, Grand Admiral Thekmor made a decision that would save thousands of lives. He opened a communication channel to Admiral Kim Nara. "Human Admiral," he said, his voice heavy with defeat. "The Vorthak Empire requests terms for withdrawal." Kim Nara nodded respectfully. She felt no joy in the aliens' surrender. War was always terrible, even when it was prevented. "Grand Admiral, your forces will withdraw to beyond the neutral zone. You will make no claims on human territory. In exchange, we will not pursue your fleet or demand punishment for your leaders." It was a generous offer. Thekmor knew that humans could destroy his entire fleet and demand complete surrender. Instead, they were allowing him to retreat with honor. "Agreed," he said quietly. Captain Oh Ji-hoon released the 12 trapped cruisers from the reality anchor. They were free to move again, but they did not attack. The demonstration was over, and everyone understood the message. Captain Lee Wan-ho's reconnaissance ships began broadcasting detailed scans of every alien vessel present. The message was clear. Humans knew everything about their technology, their weapons, and their weaknesses. Within 6 hours, the Vorthak fleet was gone. They jumped to faster-than-light speed and disappeared into the darkness between stars. The invasion was over before it truly began, but the real changes were just starting. Across the galaxy, alien governments held emergency meetings. Trade routes were reconsidered. Military plans were rewritten. Alliance treaties were reviewed. The galaxy had learned that humans were not the weak species they pretended to be. They were patient predators who had been watching and waiting for the right moment to show their strength. And that moment had finally come. 3 months had passed since the Vorthak fleet retreated from human space. The galaxy was still adjusting to the new reality. What had once been the weakest species in the Galactic Consortium was now recognized as its most powerful military force. Ambassador Choi Hijin walked through the halls of Kepler 7 station with confidence she had never been allowed to show before. Other diplomats who had once ignored her now stepped aside respectfully when she passed. The small human woman who they thought was helpless had become one of the most important people in the galaxy. Today was special. The consortium was voting on new trade agreements with humanity. For 47 years, humans had been forced to sell their resources for unfair prices. That was about to change. The meeting room was packed with representatives from every major species. The Draknor Trade Federation sat nervously in their expensive seats. The Kelrani Collective studied their data tablets with worried expressions. Even the smaller species that had once looked down on humans now watched them with careful respect. The motion before us today, announced the consortium chairman, is the renegotiation of all trade agreements with the Terran Republic. Ambassador Choi, please present your government's position. Choi Heejin stood up and activated a holographic display. Numbers and charts filled the air above the table. Every alien in the room could see exactly how much money they had been stealing from humans for decades. For 47 years, she began, humanity has provided rare earth minerals to the Draknor Federation at 12% of market value. We have built construction equipment for the Kelrani Collective at cost price with no profit margin. We have transported goods for smaller species while paying for our own fuel and maintenance. The Draknor representative shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Those were the agreed prices at the time. Agreed under threat, Choi Heejin said calmly. Your exact words in 2351 were, weak species should be grateful for any trade at all. Do you remember saying that, Trade Minister Vextar? The lizard-like alien scales turned a darker green with embarrassment. Perhaps the terms were, somewhat unfavorable to your people. Somewhat unfavorable? Han Kyung spoke from his new seat at the head table. As the consortium's new strategic defense coordinator, he now held one of the most powerful positions in galactic government. We calculate that unfair trade practices have cost humanity approximately 2.4 trillion galactic credits over the past 4 decades. The number made several aliens gasp. 2.4 trillion credits was enough to buy entire star systems, Dr. Park. Mina appeared on the communication screen from Earth. She had been invited to address the consortium's science council about human technological advances. Distinguished colleagues, she said with a grandmother's gentle smile, humanity would like to share some of our recent discoveries with the galactic community. However, we believe that scientific cooperation should be based on mutual respect and fair exchange. She activated her own display, showing technical diagrams that made the Kelrani scientists lean forward with excitement. The images showed faster-than-light engines, medical devices that could regrow lost organs, and manufacturing techniques that could build materials atom by atom. These technologies are available for licensing, Dr. Park continued. At fair market prices, of course. The Kelrani representative almost fell out of his chair. Dr. Park, some of these inventions could revolutionize entire industries. The medical applications alone could save millions of lives. Indeed, she nodded. Humans have always been happy to help save lives. We simply request that our contributions be valued appropriately. Captain Lee Wanho sat in the gallery, watching the diplomatic dance with amusement. His job had changed dramatically since the revelation. Instead of hiding from alien fleets, he now led joint training exercises, teaching other species how to use human military tactics. It had been quite an adjustment for the aliens. Species that had considered themselves great warriors discovered that human military doctrine was centuries ahead of their thinking. The idea of winning wars through intelligence and technology rather than brute force was revolutionary to them. Admiral Kim Nara had established the Terran Defense Academy on the moon of New Sol. Alien military officers came, there to study human methods. The first class had been particularly interesting. Your weapons are impressive, a Vorthak general had admitted during training. But your real strength is planning. You prepared for this confrontation for 47 years. Most species plan battles, but humans plan entire wars before they begin. Captain Ojihoon had been promoted to Commodore and now commanded an entire battle group. His ships patrolled the borders of human space, but their real job was showing off human capabilities. Every alien who saw the sleek dreadnoughts understood that humanity was not to be threatened. The diplomatic negotiations continued for hours. Species after species offered new trade deals, research partnerships, and mutual defense agreements. Everyone wanted to be friends with the humans now that they knew how powerful humanity really was. The Kelrani Collective offers full technology exchange, announced their representative. Our quantum computers in return for your phase shift technology. The Draknor Federation proposes a new mining partnership, added the lizard alien. equal profit sharing on all extraction operations. Even the smaller species offered what they could. The Zephyrian Republic wanted to hire human engineers. The Crystalline Confederation offered their planet's rare singing crystals in exchange for human-built starships. Choi Hyejin listened to all the offers politely. Inside, she felt a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. It was good to see her people finally getting the respect they deserved. But it was disappointing that respect had only come through showing superior force. Humanity appreciates all these generous offers, she said. We look forward to building genuine partnerships based on equality and mutual benefit. Han Kyung added his own thoughts. For 47 years, we watched this galaxy choose might over right, strength over wisdom. Today marks the beginning of a new era. Humanity will use our strength to protect peace, not to dominate others. The vote was unanimous. Every species in the consortium approved the new trade agreements. Humans would finally receive fair payment for their resources and technology. As the meeting ended, representatives from different species approached the human delegation. They wanted private meetings, special deals, and exclusive partnerships. The humans who had once been ignored were now the most popular people in the galaxy. Dr. Park Mina smiled as she watched the aliens compete for human attention. It is funny, she said to her assistant. We spent decades learning their languages, studying their cultures, and trying to understand their needs. Now they are desperate to understand us. Back on Earth, children went to school knowing their parents were no longer considered weak or stupid. Human colonies across the galaxy held celebrations. After nearly half a century of humiliation, humanity had finally revealed its true strength. But with great power came great responsibility. Admiral Kim Nara met with her senior officers to discuss the future. We have shown the galaxy that we are strong, she said. Now we must show them that we are wise. Our goal was never to rule over others. It was to ensure that no one could rule over us. The transformation was remarkable. In just 3 months, humanity had gone from the galaxy's servants to its protectors. Human ships now escorted trade convoys through dangerous space. Human scientists worked with alien researchers to solve galactic problems. Human diplomats mediated disputes between other species. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never judge a species by its willingness to appear weak. Sometimes the most dangerous enemies are the ones who choose to look harmless until the moment they decide to show their true strength. And humanity had chosen that moment perfectly.